did you guys see the Jurassic World? It's called Camp Cretaceous. Bryan, you have kids. So do you, Robert. I want to know. There's a scene in there where two young girls are making out. Despite, I'm going to have Kelly play here in a second. Despite the sexualization of minors, Netflix did not include a disclaimer at the beginning of the episode. The series is rated TV PG for violence, but never mentions a lesbian kiss between minors. According to the show's IMDb description, the children are teens. However, DreamWorks confirmed that the two characters who share the kiss, named Yasmina Yaz Fadula and Sammy Gutierrez, are 15 years old and 14 years old, respectively. I want Kelly to play this, and you guys have kids. I want to get your reaction, and I'm going to go to Rob. Kelly, play the clip, please.
I said hard, real hard, guys. I don't know about you. I'm getting an insurrection.
Bryan, I want to go to you first. And I'm going to do a little disclaimer. I can care less about the gay, be gay. I don't care. I have cousins that are gay, friends. Be gay. This is for 14-year-olds. They're watching this type of stuff. You're not, one of the fathers that caught this, Bryan, that put it online. He's like, man, I just put the kids to bed. They're obviously they're little. They're like 9-year-olds and whatever. Yeah. They go to sleep, Bryan. That's playing. You have no. You're not watching all these shows. When you see something like that, Bryan, what do you think? You have kids, bro.
Yeah, I have kids. I'm always, whenever it comes to like artistic expression, I think to myself, that is a reality. Yes. That does happen. There are kids that age who have those impulses and those feelings. When you're that age, you start to feel deeply. Yeah. There is a subset of the population, call it 3%, whatever it might be, that is gay. From what I have seen, it seems to be what you're born, the way some people are born. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know.
I understand I understand when people feel really uncomfortable because you're traditional, and it's just not something that you want a network to be showing your child. It might be a reality that you want to share with your child first.
I think that's the thing.
And also, it's just like with the trans, with sex, with all that. Who is supposed to educate your child? Are you going to leave the state? Are you going to let the internet? Are you going to let a TV show do that? Or do you get to do that? I guess I'm not comfortable with it, but am I being an old school traditionalist? Am I being, I don't know. I guess I'm conservative guy naturally.
So am I.
And I'm traditional.
Yeah.
I'm also old.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, I don't know if that's what I worry about. I definitely worry about gender ideology.
For sure.
I have a huge problem. I believe in two genders, and I think we get into this crazy, crazy world where you can say you're a woman. I am violently against gender-affirming care, which is a euphemism for child mutilation and sacrifice, in my opinion, because you're giving those children, it's happening right now. The St. Louis School Children's Hospital is all about giving children puberty blockers, which we have no idea what they do. They interfere with bone density and things like that. Then they go on cross-sex hormones, and then the rest is history. What you're doing when you do that to a child is you can render them sterile for the rest of their life. Certainly if they get that operation, they can never have an orgasm again. All those things. They can't share intimacy. We know kids go through phases. We know that actually real gender dysphoria is slim to vanishing, is very rare. It's almost always male to female. That's what all the literature says. And this new religion, this new gender ideology is not rooted in science, not rooted in any actual data that you can replicate, is way more ideology than reality and truth. And I am violently against it. I am violently against it.
I love that.
And I've heard people talk about the fact that this all started with the normalization of the gay experience.
Okay, and so goes to that point too, Bryan. Like, and again, I feel you. This is one thing that somebody caught on a little show, right? God knows what else is happening, but at like a young age, if there's a 9-year-old and an 8-year-old, and I get it, I think it's up to the parents, especially if they're younger people, and apparently it's happening a lot more. They're very like weird in their bodies. They don't know what the
that's the problem, Vinny. Like, I'm okay with gay. I'm not okay with sneaky gay. You know, like sneaky gay. Like lesbian scenes in the right contents are awesome. All for them.
Because we're adults.
All for them.
Yeah.
You know, but when they're trying to sneak in this, there, like even, like I'm not against them making content. Because like, let's say you're one of the kids, like a lesbian girl in the 3%, you're 13.
Yeah.
You want to be represented, but they should have like content for parents that want to show their kids gay things.
Look, I think at the end of the day, anything sexual like this that is complicated, we've always traditionally had a standards and practices. Like when I was doing, anytime I did a TV show, especially back in the 90s, you had a standards and practice person who would be there to say, on Mad TV, I was doing a thing where I was like, I had a Phoenix, they thought I was doing, it looked like I was doing blow. So they're like, we can't do that.
Wow.
So we always had these rules. And there were standards that we all had embraced because we knew that kids were watching this stuff.
That's it.
And we knew we didn't want kids knowing about below. We didn't want kids knowing about the things that adults do in the darkness. And I think that you should protect children, personally. I would rather we wait on all this stuff.
Yeah.
They're going to see it anyway. Here's the big caveat, guys. You're dealing with the internet. Good luck.
No shit. Well, Rob, because Rob, I'm going to go to you because I want to change topics. But go ahead, Rob.
Well, I think it comes down to weak parenting. That's a big problem in America, is that there aren't parents that are paying attention to what their kids are watching, right? So again, Netflix
It
should
might be working.
Yeah.
I work too, but I have conversations with my children, right? Like when I had the birds and bees conversation with my dad, it wasn't with Miss Schulteis, my 6th grade teacher. It was with my father. My father taught me about, like, this is what happens. This is where babies come from. You're going to learn this course in school. They had to send home a letter that my parents had to sign that allowed me to go to sex ed. So my dad had the conversation before. That's all fine and typical and normal. That should be the way that it goes on. The parents should be informed, and the parents aren't informed here because there was no label on the TV show. I got no problem with 14-year-olds watching this. I have a 14-year-old. You think I don't think my 14-year-old's jacking off around the clock? He is. I did it when I was 14.
Kids in the room,
Listen, my apologies. I forgot. But when I was his age, even now, when my family leaves the house, what do you think I go and do? I do the same thing that my 14-year-old does when the rest of the family leaves the house. It doesn't change. I know
You're still doing it?
Oh, hell yeah, I'm still doing that.
It's his house.
Guys, run the tape.
Yeah.
The point
Aerial view.
Rob, I'm never shaking your hand
Drone
again.
footage. Go ahead.
Come on,
listen,
Adam.
what it
We all
comes down to
do
is
it.
parents being active in their kids' lives, and I think if you're an active parent, you have these conversations with your kids, then you can defeat it. Because I do believe that there is this push. The hardest thing that we've ever done for me. We did a podcast called The Dark Side of Detransitioning, where we talked to these people, these teenagers who mutilated their bodies, can never have children again. And then what they said was,
Here come the lawsuits.
Here's what happens. The trans community embraces them. You want to make the switch? Yes, you're one of us. Come in. We're going to represent you. We're with you. We'll show you who you can go to. The doctors.
The trans
that'll do this.
activists. There's no community. It's the activists.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Those are the people that come in, and then they show you the resources where you can get it done, and then you get this done. You get this medical procedure done. Sometimes in California, parents don't even have to actually go or authorize some of the gender affirming care that these children are receiving. The kids go through the surgeries, they change, then they find that they don't like being the different gender. Now they're transitioned, they're unhappy, they're sad, they're depressed, and you know what happens when they start talking about going back and detransitioning, going back to what they were naturally born as? The trans activists and community turn on them.
I know.
How dare you? And how dare you? And like, there's a really great. So if you're out there and you're ever like thinking about investigating more in detransitioning, watch that podcast episode. But read the detransitioner subreddit. It is some of the most heartbreaking. We were going through and reading a heartbreaking stories of these people that are now my community that brought me into this is turning their back on me, and now I'm being ostracized by that same community, and my body is mutilated for the rest of my life. It's horrifying to hear. But the only way that you can defeat that is having those
doctors.
relationships. How old are your kids?
Those academics.
How old are your kids?
Huh?
How old are your kids?
16 and 12.
16 and 12.
Yeah.
Boy or girl, a 16-year-old?
Girl is 16.
Okay. Did you have these conversations with her in advance?
I try, but she's been educated by she's she's an intellectual. She's done a lot of reading, and a lot of TikToking and a lot of
TikToking, not good.
And my son, we took the phone away.
That's what you have to do.
Get out of here with that phone, because he's in jiu-jitsu and wrestling, and he's going to be the man I never was, and that's the way it is, or I'll disown him. You know what I mean? That's a different
story.
I'll just give a quick couple points. As far as this video goes, I'm a pretty simple guy. I use the KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid. I judge things 1 through 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, how big of a deal was this thing? I'm like, it's like a 3, 2.
I'm there.
But I appreciate you bringing it up because it gives me a little perspective. Because I've seen some things like, dude, that is a 9.5 10, what is going on right here?
Yep.
So this is not that big of a deal. 2 cartoon lesbians kissing, but there's 3 things that are going on in society today that didn't exist when we were growing up. Number 1, the LGBTQ full-on agenda. There was no agenda in the 90s.
No.
Like we were dealing with AIDS in the 90s. The agenda was eliminate AIDS.
Well, they act like there's a community. I hate this. Like when people talk about the black vote.
Yes.
You think black people agree? You think you're acting like black people vote as a group?
Identity
go to
politics
a
is the
barber
thing.
shop. Go
Correct.
talk. You know what? This is white people like saying things like, well, the black vote. The black vote's all over the place, like the white vote. What do you mean by white? What white?
Yes.
What part of white? You talking about Sicilians
The
like
rich
me?
white? You're talking about the poor
Sicilians?
whites?
You're
You're
talking about
talking
poor
about the
whites?
educated
Yeah, you're
whites?
talking about
White looking
Scandinavians?
You're
Latinos?
talking about the white
Yeah.
guy who actually speaks Spanish for a living?
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
the strength of our country is that we are a mix, which is why I believe in cross marriage. Okay.
So
Yeah, for sure.
Fully, but there is an agenda. Whether I'm not talking about politically, there's an agenda in general.
Yeah.
I get
There's
L
an
is different from
agenda.
G is different than B is different than
Yeah.
T. The T's are holding up the L's, the G's, the B's. The whole Dave Chappelle thing. Number 1 is that. Number 2, social media. There was no social media prior to 2010, 2012. I'm talking when Instagram showed up, then everything that after that.
Yeah.
Facebook wasn't like social media. It was like, oh, I went to college with that guy. Then the third thing is cancel culture. Like the fact that we can have this conversation. There's a lot of people, I don't like what Rob said.
Yeah.
Callen. So you talk about LGBTQ, you're talking about social media, and it's about cancel culture. And it's cancel culture, and it can be reverse cancel culture. You can be ostracized by your own community.
That's right.
Like you talked about.
Yeah, but
so
the
again, the
pushback's
freedom
real,
of
Adam.
expression, freedom of speech is numero uno in America. And let's just.
But the pushback is real, and the pushback's winning.
Yeah, and I love that you said
Tradition's
that.
winning.
We showed a video here, Brian, and I know, dude, when you said violently, I'm in the same boat. You're on one side of the boat, I'm on the other side. We saw this girl, 12 years old. What was it, Rob?
Can't take it. I
bro,
can't even
bro,
look at it.
young girl. She's sitting there, and they're jamming her with, and the parents are holding her.
Oh.
She's screaming and crying, bro. It gets me really emotional. And she's crying because they're shoving puberty blockers in her. The mom's like, it's okay. It's okay. That kid can't do shit on its own. Can't make any decisions. It was 11, I forgot, 11 years old, and the parents are there. The parents need to go to prison,
Yeah.
and the doctor not only can never practice ever again, I want them all to be in the same prison cell with people that are going to try to go after them. You are purposely hurting and ruining a kid's life for the rest of their lives because you want to be in the woke in crowd, and those pieces of shit want to make money. The doctors want to make money, and all the pharmaceuticals are going to make money because you got to keep drugging these kids. It's going to be a multi-billion-dollar thing, and I hope to God.
Yeah, but the lawsuits
Parents.
are coming
What
now.
about
That's
the
what I can't
parents?
wait
So
for.
the Tavistock Clinic in England was shut down because of this. They had 1,000 lawsuits and counting.
Oh, I love
and
it.
Now, of course, what happens is they're like, "Hey, I was a kid, and your whole talk and you doctors gave me all this, and now I'm gonna sue you." And what happens is when a hospital is dealing with 1,000 lawsuits or 2,000
Yeah.
lawsuits, it gets ugly for them.
Yes,
So
it does.
Fuck you. Fuck you guys.
I mean, just to
Fuck
validate
all
what you're
you.
saying before we move on, I remember when under Obama, gay marriage became legal. Prior to that, I think in 2008 when he ran, he's like, oh, I don't know, man. We've moved so far, right, down the right path,
spectrum,
might
yeah,
say,
yeah.
that, okay, you're gay, cool. No one
nobody
cares.
cares. Nobody does
It's
care.
the T stuff. That you were a boy, now you're a girl,
It's
now
not
you're a
true.
girl.
It's a lie.
It's a lie.
That
It's
whole
also
thing.
it's also your this social contagion. All the psychologists were saying you're gonna take young girls who are already having a hard time emotionally. They might be autistic, they might be emotionally fragile, and because young girls are the first ones to be susceptible. Bulimia, remember bulimia?
Yeah.
Remember anorexia? It's the same idea. I'm trans now.
Suicidal thoughts?
And now you've got 30% of these girls in
teenagers?
school saying I'm trans. Of course that happens because it's something to do.
Yeah.
And it gets crazy. And that's what happens. They all predicted it. It happened. It is happening. And once again, if you're a doctor that does this, if you're a psychologist that is going along with this,
Pushing it.
if you are an academic who is pushing this and teaching this, fuck you
Yes.
3 times. And I want payback, but I don't want to get too crazy.
well,
but if the grid breaks down, bro, and the zombie apocalypse is here, they better watch the fuck out because I got a list.